YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes to RINT, dropping a fresh VID for you today. And today, we gotta talk about Backlash. And I gotta tell you guys, I went into this pay-per-view nervous as hell. Because, when you compare the roster that Raw got via the WWE draft versus the roster that Smackdown got, with a few notable exceptions like John Cena and AJ Styles, SmackDown really got shortchanged. But this pay-per-view was fantastic. And I'll tell you why. It's because when it's an individual brand pay-per-view as opposed to a co-branded like SummerSlam was, the strengths of SmackDown's ability to tell stories shines through. And that's what it did tonight on the night of Backlash. Was they told stories leading into the Backlash pay-per-view, and they concluded in a logical fashion. First of all, I'm not going to waste time covering the pre-show matches because you don't care. And I'm only going to cover the most notable things in my opinion. First things first, we got to talk about our brand new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. And it's Becky Lynch. I don't mind telling you guys, I was so happy to be wrong. Because I would have bet the house, the dog, the cat, the farm, the cats, I mentioned cats twice, the kids, the mortgage, anything you would have wanted, that Nikki Bella would have been the winner because of her position in the Daniel Bryan household and the fact that he's the GM of SmackDown, so of course you gotta put the sister-in-law over, right? But no, instead you do the smart thing and put over the Irish lass kicker who's been busting her butt week after week, month after month since coming over from NXT and getting little to no recognition and in fact getting screwed over, but she finally got the title. I was so happy! I'm still happy now! It was great! Oh, I was literally doing like Jersey fist pumps. This isn't Jersey fist pumps, but you get my thing, man. Oh, I'm so happy for her. Way to go. I hope she has a nice long title reign. And no surprise that it's another of the 4 horsewomen that are prominently featured in respective women's divisions. Good. This is a good thing because they all can wrestle. Aren't we seeing that? What was next most important? Of course, we got to talk about the SmackDown Tag Team Tournament. Now, bear in mind, normally, if you would look at me and said Heath Slater was going to be one half of your tag team champions, I'd have been like, what? Why? But I just have to say, with the free agent thing and Heath Slater bouncing back and forth on Raw and SmackDown, trying to get that contract, and then them bringing in, the white trash setup, the trailer park thing, and him promising a double wide and a pool to his ever-changing number of kids. It's been hilariously entertaining. And in fact, while I haven't been a Heath Slater fan for very long, I always have sensed that there was this innate charisma buried deep inside of Mr. Slater, and I thought, if he ever got a chance to bring that out, he could really be something. And then partnering him up with Rhino, Rhino was one of those guys that, while you won't ever see him at the World Heavyweight Championship level as a wrestler, he's certainly a good hand to work, a good worker. He can make you believe that he can run just about anybody over that he wants to. So, as unorthodox a pairing as it was, it really worked, and I'm really happy. I also think, the Usos looked really good as a heel. It adds a little bit more depth to SmackDown's tag team division because they were really short on heel tag teams. Plus, I think, the association with the Usos and Roman and all his negativity that he's getting still unjustly from the crowd, may I add, it was affecting them. Nobody wanted the Usos as a face, so you turn them heel, and I think it'll work out really well for them. And I really look forward to a barn burner between them and American Alpha when they come back from their injuries. So, that was great. I was really just in awe of this pay-per-view in general because everything fell into place. They told logical stories that didn't make you scratch your head. They didn't have long fillers. They just went and got right to the point. And speaking of the point, it's time to talk about the WWE World Championship match between Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles. Now, I'll admit, coming into this pay per view, I liked both guys. But really, after his performance at SummerSlam, I can no longer defend Dean Ambrose as world champion. It's just one of those things where, look, I'll level with you guys. I have cerebral palsy, which means if someone taps me when I'm standing, I'm pretty much guaranteed to fall over. Pretty much guaranteed to fall on my ass. It just happens. But when your punches are so bad that even I look like, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I could take that punch and still remain on my feet. You're doing something wrong. And let's be honest. After AJ beat John Cena clean in the middle of the ring at SummerSlam, in my mind, there was only one place for AJ Styles to go, and that's to put that strap over his shoulder, much like when Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. After somebody beats this thing that is built up to be hollowed and even more important than the title, there's nowhere for him to go but to then be put in that top spot. And AJ Styles deserves it. Now, this is one thing that both shows are doing. I'm going to bring this up right now, even though it's not directly related to Backlash, but they're interwoven. In the last few months, we have, Charlotte and Sasha are trading women's titles. We now have Becky Lynch as the SmackDown Women's title. We have a tag team in Slater and Rhino that, while they may not have a long title reign, at the moment, it at least makes sense to have them have a title. They're going to get the titles taken off of them quickly, probably at the hands of the Usos fairly soon. And your main event scene is changing because you now have AJ Styles and Kevin Owens as your world champs. Now, I'll grant you that these guys are much closer to the end of their career than they are to the beginning. However, they have many good years left to give to the company. And while they're on top, the younger talent that's working their way up can see how they work and then incorporate that style into themselves. They will end up making the whole roster better because they will elevate both products to a much higher standard and be able to teach people the fundamentals that they're lacking in the ring. You watch, both brands will be exceptionally better from this point out with these guys as champions. And it is very refreshing to see that a lot of the old guard, like the Cenas and even Lesnar, who's getting ready for a world title run, I talked about how disenchanted even I'm becoming with his presentation because I know he's capable of so much more. But we have guys that are capable of doing amazing things in ring to captivate audiences and keep them coming back. So, I find myself enjoying SmackDown more than Raw these days. I don't begrudge what Raw is doing, but what Raw does is they'll have one week where they'll have amazing matches and tell amazing stories, and the next week they'll have matches that aren't so amazing, or even if the matches are amazing, I'll just say maybe they're amazing 2 weeks, but the stories they tell in between just kind of go all over the place, like that segment with Anderson and Gallows working out the old day. God, that was terrible. I will never be able to get that time back. I can't. Whereas SmackDown, yeah, it doesn't have the star power that Raw does, but they make it work by telling much better stories, getting back to fundamentals, the kind of thing that happened when Shane McMahon was last part of the company. Wait a minute, I just realized something. You mean to say that a man who was there when good fundamental wrestling and storytelling was in place, like in the Attitude Era, his fingerprints all over that show and it's instantly better? It's not perfect. In fact, I'll still put NXT ahead of SmackDown. So it goes NXT, Raw, SmackDown as far as shows I enjoy watching in that order. But little by little, the positions between Raw and SmackDown are ever shuffling. And this is an amazing thing. I want to see it continue. I can't wait for SmackDown tonight to see how AJ reacts to having his world title run. You could say his career is now complete. He has done everything that a professional wrestler needs to do. If he's going to say, I'm the best, now you've been with the best and beat the best. So good for you, AJ. Um, Real quick, for anyone who has a problem with the way that AJ won it, with the low blow, because believe it or not, I've talked to some people who actually do. Uh, it works because let's not forget AJ is a heel. Heel equals bad guy, and bad guy does bad thing to win title. So no effect there. Fantastic pay-per-view all the way around. The only thing I really would have changed, and I understand why they did it, when Bray Wyatt fought Kane and Randy Orton came out and interfered in the match, hitting Bray with an RKO, allowing Kane to pick up the win via his choke slam. I don't even think no, it was just a disqualification win, I think. Or what? No, I'm sorry. Kane did get the win. Did get the win. Uh, I like Kane, and the only way that that would really work on all levels for me is if all of a sudden uh, Kane turned back into the monster that suddenly started destroying everybody, which could be what they're trying to go for. Uh, but you know what annoys me? And I've proclaimed my love for the Bray Wyatt and Wyatt family gimmick on this channel from its inception, basically. Uh, Everyone talks about, the impact Bray Wyatt is having in the business, and he is. You can see it. Look at all the fans that hold up their cell phones when he does that entrance. The character is successful. And I know we've reached a point where wins and losses don't matter in wrestling, but it's really hard for me to say the character is truly successful when he's not getting at least a few big wins on a pay-per-view. Sure, he might win on a SmackDown or a live event that's not televised, but on the whole, every time you get to a big stage like a pay-per-view and you see Bray Wyatt versus whoever it is, Bray's gonna lose unless it's such a low card talent that it doesn't matter. I really would like to see Wyatt pushed as the number one heel, although I guess that position is currently occupied by AJ Styles. So he could be the number two guy. That's not bad. You can be number two and be looked to made strong and successful. So I hope that really happens. But on the whole, this is my candidate for best pay-per-view of 2016 so far. Uh, I hope the trend continues. What were your thoughts on Backlash? Tell me in the comment section down below. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like. Tell me what you wish would happen. Give me some of your fantasy booking. How would you book WWE going forward? All these things can go in the comment section below. If you like this video, click that thumbs up. It really helps, and I really appreciate it. If you don't want to miss a video by the Wrestling Ranter, click that subscribe button. And every time a video of mine goes live, you'll know about it. Ranter's going to get off the soapbox. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.